I gotta be honest, Chicago does look really freaking nice for what I do. I know a lot of people up there that are thriving. Meanwhile, in St. Louis, it feels like I'm surviving. This episode is low-key just one giant pilot of me hand-holding a mic for my mobile setup. So I'm going to see how this works. I'm going to see how the audio sounds. And you're going to go along on the journey with me because, I don't know, I've been experimenting over the past 8 years. And 8 years ago, I uploaded my first YouTube video to the platform, which was a really bad video, if I'm being honest. Like, it was the very first video that I had ever edited whatsoever. I didn't even know how to edit a video. I didn't know how to tell a story. I didn't know how to keep people's attention on the video. So I'm going to do the thing that I've learned gets people's attention is I take the most valuable thing I own and I throw it. So this is my degree, and look at all this room I can throw this. Made extra room today. And this isn't my degree. Welcome to the show. So I'm not going to give you guys the whole spiel that I say at the beginning of every episode. We're just going to jump right into it. I want to really talk about my very first video. I remember posting, this is actually the day before, it's Thursday, November 30th. So I posted on Facebook and was like, hey, I'm thinking of starting a YouTube channel for fun. Like, think I should do that? And I saw that in my memories today and I'm like, holy crap, no, that's actually like my life now. What was I thinking going into this? I started out as like just this guy that wanted to make YouTube videos. I didn't know what I wanted to make them about, really. I knew that I had been watching YouTube more consistently than, you know, cable television, Netflix, whenever it was like still sending DVDs to your doorstep, like that kind of stuff. Redbox, that was still a thing. I don't know if Redbox is still around, but even if it is, they're not doing a great job of being relevant. So I watched a ton of YouTube. I subscribed to a lot of gaming creators like, you know, Classic Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, Etika, rest in peace, Joy-Con Boys Forever. So I watched a lot of the gaming creators mainly. So I got this idea because my friends and I were hilarious. We still are to this day. We're hilarious. So I was like, why don't we make videos about this and all the crazy shenanigans we get into, because we played a lot of like Mario Kart, Super Smash Brothers, but like we would really get into it and we would like yell at each other and like have friendship ending things. Like I remember one time, one of my friends, I whooped him so bad in Super Smash Brothers because I was the best out of the entire apartment. And I, in college, drunkenly beat the best player in Tennessee at Super Smash Brothers on the Wii U. But I beat this kid so many times that he was like, all right, I've been training. I've been waiting for this. And he came into the apartment and I was like, okay, you want to fight me against my best character, which was Little Mac at the time. And I was like, okay, let's do this. So then I whooped him and he threw the GameCube controller at the ground and stormed out. And I didn't hear from him for a few days. I hope he's doing well now. I mean, I haven't spoken to him in quite a while, but I hope he's doing well now. And hopefully the new Smash Brothers, he's gotten a lot better at. And he'd probably beat me now because I'm very rusty and don't play as much anymore. But at the time, I was playing a ton of it. So I made Super Smash Brothers videos. I made all these different compilations of even random games that were relevant at the time, even like web games. So I just impulsively bought a capture card off Amazon. I was like, I had a little bit of extra money in my account. So I was like, let me get this really crappy microphone just so I have something to work with. And I started recording. I figured out how to record on my iMac and I had no freaking clue how to edit the video. I was just like batch recording like a ton of videos. So I had probably like 5 videos filmed like after, you know, my very first vlog that I shot on my phone. I had all these videos, but I didn't know how to really edit them because it's different, because with a vlog, you can just like chop up the dead space. But with these other videos, like you have to have the footage in the background. You have to have all these things that are going on. So it was a little more complicated than just your typical like, oh, let's just add a few pieces of text. I had to like match the footage, match the audio. It was a crazy experience, but I learned how to do it because of that. From there, I was like, you know what? This is an extremely saturated niche because everybody at the time was trying to do gaming content. So That's whenever I moved into making vlogs more so. But then I made them focused around Pokemon Go. And this is whenever I first got really, I guess, bitten by the YouTube bug, because I got my first couple hundred views on a video. My first videos were not getting like any views at all. They were getting like maybe 15. I was like sharing them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I was putting them everywhere, but nobody was watching. Once I got these Pokemon Go videos, that's whenever people started paying attention. And I started noticing my view count go up, my watch time go up, my subscriber count go up. And I wanted to continue doing that. So I started making these daily vlogs. And in one of them, if you go back and watch it, there was a lightning storm one morning, and it was like super early. It was at like 5 a.m, 6 a.m. So a lightning bolt hit our apartment building, and I'm pretty sure it hit either above my literal unit, because I was on the 3rd floor. It hit right the roof right there, or my neighbors, because it fried the fire alarm system. So the fire alarms were stuck going off. They were stuck going off. There was no hope. There was no hope, because the fire department was like, yeah, it's probably going to take us about, at least 6 hours to get out there. So I was like, crap, what can we do here? And at the time we were clinically obsessed with Pokemon Go. So naturally we did Pokemon Go. So we went out, it was National French Fry Day. We went to Wendy's, got our French fries. And then we were like, okay, let's just drive around and catch Pokemon and see what the heck happens with our day, because we can't stay in our apartment because the fire alarms are quite literally stuck going off. Everything was fine. The fire alarms went off, and we hung out in the clubhouse at our apartment complex for a while and just kind of hung out. We knew all the like workers and everything. We were close friends with everybody. So it was like a good way to like change up being in a car. It felt like we road tripped, because we were in the car for quite literally like 5 hours. Once we got in there, we discovered everything was fine. Like the fire department had come, fixed everything. It was quiet in our apartment. So we went back upstairs and discovered that our internet was fried. So it was bad, because that lightning bolt fried the fire alarm system. It fried my 2 PS4s of my friends. It fried a TV downstairs. Like, lightning is no joke. That's why, like, honestly, even now, if there is lightning going on outside, I don't mess around with that, because I know how crazy it is. I don't know anybody personally that's been like struck by lightning, but I've heard stories of like close calls, and I don't want to be one of those close calls, like I'd rather I'm just not going to play. I'm going to play it safe. Like Mother Nature, you do you. So with no internet, I had no way to upload these videos. I had to really get inventive with how I would handle this. Because I had this cadence of uploading every single day, and I really, really, really wanted to keep that going, because the momentum was like everything was in the green. Everything was like the graph was going up. Everything was rising. So I remember the next day I had several videos edited and put together, and I drove to Kansas City, which was about an hour or so drive. I drove to Kansas City to see one of my friends and go visit his house. And I uploaded all of these from like this SD card. So like this really slow SD card. I uploaded these videos because I had them stored on there, and scheduled them out for the next few days, because I was like, you know what? In a few days, our internet's probably going to be fixed. So thankfully it was, and I didn't have to deal with that again. But I knew at that moment that this YouTube thing was something that I was really passionate about, and something that I really wanted to do. And it wasn't just like a hobby. It wasn't just like this thing that like, let's just make videos and hope for the best. Like, no, I actually wanted to do this. It was a genuine interest. That was the bulk of my content really for like that following year up until college graduation. And then I took a little bit of a hiatus because, I realized that bills were a thing now. And I was like, okay, well, now I have to support myself. So this was also the moment that I realized like my degree, that's when I started to question it. I started to question just how valuable this degree was, because all through high school, all through college, people that are older than me, like that were older at the time, they always tell the story of, oh, you go to college, you get a degree, and then you get a job, and then you that's your life. And that was not my life because I had built this portfolio. I actually went to this like site called Briefbox, and I had these like fake briefs for graphic designers that I made. I made these briefs that were for projects that didn't even exist. And I printed it out in this huge fancy portfolio. And I was like, okay, this is going to get me a job. Like, if this doesn't get me a job, I don't know what will. And sure enough, it didn't really do much except impress people that would then turn me down because of the fact that I didn't have real professional experience, which sucked, which really and truthfully sucked. And I hated that. It was really, I felt defeated. If I could just put it bluntly, I felt defeated because I wasn't getting anything. I put all this work, all this effort, all this time and energy and emotional, mental capacity, and I wasn't getting anywhere with it. So after a few crappy jobs, I ended up landing my first graphic design focused role about 6 months after, and I need to silence my phone because it is a rainy day here today for the first time in forever. So my phone keeps telling me, oh, rain's starting in St. Louis at this time and ending at this time. So yeah, so I finally landed this job and I started to learn video production. And this is stuff that I've talked about in the first episode. So I'm not really going to go into detail about like the nitty gritty of learning video. Go back and listen to that if you want to learn more about that. But I want to talk about the YouTube side of things right now. So I had this idea, I remember a few months in, and I was like, why don't I make videos on YouTube about St. Louis? Because at the time there was nobody doing it. This was like 2017, 2018. There was like nobody making like vlog style. I wanted to be a storyteller in St. Louis. So I started shooting my shot with all these businesses with like 300 subscribers and like maybe 500 followers on Instagram. And back then I knew how to grow an Instagram because literally the company I was working for, I was growing the account. I'm not even kidding you. Like probably there was a week there where we were getting like 10K followers a week. Like this was a whole different era of Instagram. And back then, like I was really crazy good at it. Nowadays, not so much, if you can tell by my current follower account. But back then, like it was a totally different style of doing things. Like the type of content you would post, how to make it relevant to that audience. Like it was a totally different thing. And it was a little bit easier because it was more like product focused. So like there was a defined market to, you know, I could nerd out about the details of growing social media all day, but kept shooting my shot. I'm like, no one's going to say yes because I have like no followers. They're going to be like, who the frick is this guy? He's making this amateur content. But finally, I got to show love to Westport Social because they said yes. They were like, all right, we kind of get what you're trying to go for. Here's a gift card, do what you want and like make a piece of content and go from there, I guess. So I did. I showed up, got this cool recap video and then posted it. And then it actually started really kicking things off like, oh, this guy's in St. Louis. Oh, he's making videos about the community. Oh, he's like actually out here doing stuff. Yeah, I was really doing it then. And that's whenever it started to feel really real because I had no brand partnerships prior to that. That was my very first ever like collaboration. So I started making more and more videos about St. Louis, going to all these businesses, collaborating with all these people and going to all these creator meetups. And it was like, this was pre-pandemic. So it was very thriving. It was like, everybody was like, this is cool. This is new. Like St. Louis is, I would say is like probably 5 years behind other major cities when it comes to content creation and like the creator economy being developed. Like we're like 5 years behind here. And it shouldn't be a shocker because this is a very tradition focused city that's kind of stuck in its ways. That's why our common phrase is, where'd you go to high school? Even though people are like 65 asking you that, it's like, that's been done. Why are you still focused on that? Your high school doesn't even exist anymore. So, oh, I went here back when it was this. Yeah, we're very old style here, but not all of us. I mean, the people that I share the studio with, and myself included, we're trying to break that norm. And I'll get more into that here in a minute. I want to focus on like how we got to this. So I started making more St. Louis content, and then the pandemic hit. And that's whenever things really started to get kind of crazy, because everybody kind of pivoted into doing different stuff or like connecting with the St. Louis community in a different way. So from there, I started to bring back like some of my gaming roots. Like I was live streaming Mario Kart on my Instagram story. I had like my old phone that was signed into my second account, which is now the podcast account, because I've held onto that handle for a really long time. So I was streaming like the TV. I'd have the camera on the TV, and then I have mine on me. And then I'd just be like, oh, just come hang out. If people want to, if they want to be a part of it, you guys can. We had like Jackbox nights. It was just like it. I wanted to have that sense of community that people could like join, and like, because it was a very separating time. Everybody was at home. Everybody was bored. Everybody's working from home. That sense of community was really gone. So I wanted to build that, and I wanted to foster something that actually focused around that concept that would help people feel a little less alone. That's really what it boils down to. I really enjoyed the live streaming because gaming has always been a huge part of like me, because I've been playing video games since I was like 4. And I remember playing Pokemon Puzzle Challenge. That was my first ever game, and I still have that, and Pokemon Pinball for the Game Boy. So still have those at home. After this whole St. Louis era, like it started to close down with this thought in my head that I'm like, this is not sustainable. I can't do this, because my ultimate goal was to grow as a creator. And it got to the point where I was investing so much time and money into this that the payoff just wasn't there. Like my follower count had started to plateau. My subscriber count started to plateau. I wasn't evolving as a videographer and creator. So I knew that was the moment that I had to actually do something different. And I had to break from that cycle, because it just didn't make sense. On top of this whole situation with St. Louis, it's also like, remember how I mentioned that we're about 5 years behind other cities? This city really thinks that influencer marketing is inviting the same group of people. And they're like, oh, these guys all do this thing, so let's invite them all and drop them into the same bucket. No matter how diverse all these creators are and like their content style, their personalities, how they present things, how they structure a video, doesn't matter. Their niche is all the same. And even the people that make the same style content, we're going to invite them all. So it just got saturated. It got, honestly, it felt kind of not insulting, but it just felt kind of disappointing to see that that's how the city perceives this role. You got to understand your audience. You got to understand your lane. You got to understand all that stuff. And that I could go on and on about how St. Louis has also pushed me outside of like the numbers not growing the way I'd like. I could go on about that. And that's what I'll probably save for my next state of the creator economy, because that's like an address that I do every 6 months or so. But there is one point that I will bring up about St. Louis that really bothered me and kind of like pushed me out of making St. Louis focused content, is there's an extraordinary amount of gatekeeping. Everybody acts as if it's not going on, because St. Louis is such a small city. It really is in the grand scheme of things. It's like a little big city, I like to call it, because it feels like all of us are like 2 degrees of separation from each other. But we act like we're all for the community and all supportive and all like pro St. Louis. But then like a lot of the pro St. Louis people aren't getting the recognition that they deserve. Like I know some people that have been grinding for years that haven't been getting the love and support that they really should be getting for the amount that they're putting on for the city. But then Beyonce comes in and gets a proclamation just for deciding to add it, for her tour manager deciding to add this to her list. I don't know if that's actually the case. I mean, don't quote me on that, but that's sure how it looked, because you have all of these people, all these public figures, and I'm not throwing myself in this bucket, but you have all these people that are doing incredible things, really driving revenue, building that community here in St. Louis, but they're not getting recognition. But like these, A-list celebrities that happen to stop by here are getting proclamations offered to them. That's really frustrating. It's really frustrating. So this gatekeeping, this like clickiness, that's another thing that really pushed me out of St. Louis content creation, because I didn't feel like that avenue really served me anymore. And I may come off like a cocky, arrogant person about that, but like I really have challenged myself over the years, despite having, like 5,000 followers on Instagram and like 3,000 on YouTube and whatever the heck else on other platforms. I've really challenged myself to level up as a creator. And I've always been under the impression that the numbers will eventually show that. And plus, I want to go into each of these videos now as if I already reached like, the 10 million subscriber mark. Braden's making an appearance. Braden is one of these creators that I'm talking about. Dude, he's literally trying to sneak under, but he is on his knees.
Hey, you're about as tall as Dante.
He was as tall as me, just sitting down on the ground. I always challenge myself to make these videos as if I already have that like 10 million subscriber plaque. I really want to have great content and centered around the things that I've always been curious about. Like my recent uploads have been, can you become a dairy farmer if you were a city boy? Like that was a lot of fun to make. And it also helps when you have really great partners on that too. But it was a lot of fun because I got out of my comfort zone, out of my daily routine. And it's a question that a lot of people had, because a lot of people, whenever I see them, they're like, what was it like? Like, what really happened? And like, it drives that conversation. And that's the kind of content that I want to make, because these are questions that are always in my head. Like, oh, what is that like? Or what if I did this? Can I put these two things together and what does it do? That's what I want to focus on. Just having that childlike curiosity of the world around you. And even whenever really shitty things happen, like whenever I had my car stolen, like that was fucked. I'll just be honest. But I turned around and I was like, okay, how can I make content around this? And it ended up being like, okay, why don't I get a Tesla? Because can you even daily drive a Tesla in the city when there's only 8 superchargers and I don't have an outlet just like chilling where I park? Can you do it? Yes, you can. And it was a lot of fun. Teslas are really freaking interesting. And I loved the fart feature the most, I'd say, because I remember being in the Andy's drive-thru and I discovered it. So I rolled down my window for the person to take my order and I just farted at them. And he busted up laughing because he was just like, wait a minute, what? And I'm like, yeah, listen. And then I like cranked up the volume and it has like a variety of farts. It's like a fart soundboard. But back to this whole YouTube thing. I'd say one of the biggest challenges with making videos for 8 years and having like, in the grand scheme of things, like not a lot of subscribers and stuff, is it can be challenging not actually paying attention to the numbers. Like I said, I really put an emphasis on making good content and actually being a good creator. But there is that part that's like, oh, crap, like people aren't seeing it, or, oh, there's like the growth that just isn't there. It's not worth going through this stuff because whatever the case may be. When in reality, people are seeing it. Like I said, the amount of people I've talked to about dairy farming in the past like 2 weeks has been insane. So people are seeing it, and it's sometimes hard to see past those numbers though. And like see past the, oh, you went up 0.1% you're following this week. It's sometimes hard to see that you're actually advancing as a creator. But if you're in my position where you've been doing this for a while, I'd say I'd only been taking it seriously for probably 3 years though. So I may say 8 years out loud, but it only feels like I've actually become a creator in probably the past 3. Like the 5 years prior to that, this was just a hobby that I was fucking around with. But now I'm like committed to it. You know, does that make me a player? Damn, I never really thought about it like that. But Instagram has never really been my focus, I'll be honest. Instagram has never been something that I've been prioritizing. YouTube has always been the thing that I've focused on. I mean, that's why my podcast is essentially hosted on YouTube. I make this video version for YouTube, and I talk about YouTube because it's something that I actually genuinely enjoy doing. I don't know. I mean, like, even with not having a ton of subscribers, I've gotten so much value out of this. Like, just making content, like even with these 5,000 followers on Instagram and 3K on YouTube and whatever on the podcast stuff, I've had deals that are bigger than any videography project I've done. I've had projects that were worth like months of my previous salary. Like, it's been a whole crazy experience. I've gotten to meet some really interesting and amazing people. Not to mention, like, if we're trying to talk clout, I've met some really important people because of this. Like, it's insane what this stuff can provide you with and what value you can get from content creation that's outside of, you know, I just want like 100K followers, but like, that only gets you so far, you know. Like, do you have a community? Do you have people that actually rock with what you do? Do you have people that care? Do you have people that are supporting what you do? Do you have people that thoroughly enjoy watching your content? Are you actually making good content? Are you making good videos? Are you posting something that's actually adding something to someone's life? Like, the value that I've gotten from content creation. And that's why I say I'm a YouTuber, because even though the walls are not covered with plaques, I still have a lot of cool shit that's happened as a result of starting a YouTube channel. Where do I want to see? I want to see for the next, year 9, whenever that ever happens. Well, I know when it's going to happen. December 1st, 2024. That's weird to say out loud, 2024. I feel like 2023 never happened. It just kind of like gone. But what I want to see is I want to continue to level up as a creator. I want to continue to make more dope content. I want to be more consistent, because I upload like maybe once a month right now, and that's not enough. I need to streamline a lot of stuff. I need to get better about a lot of stuff. There's a lot of measurable and impactful things that I can do that's not follower count and algorithms, because that's not something that I can have anything to do with. I just want to focus on making good videos and providing value and staying curious. Because to be honest, the moment that my curiosity dies is the moment I feel like my content dies. Behind the camera right now, sneaking, is Epic. And he is another creator that I am talking about in a positive light that I get to share this space with. So thanks for being a part of this. And I hope to continue to make awesome content. I have every intention of making more dope videos and just being an awesome creator. And shoot, just hopefully being the next big YouTuber to come out of St. Louis, unless someone beats me to it. I could see Josh or Colin beating me to it, which they're in previous episodes if you want to listen to those. So just saying, rate the show, follow the show, follow all the social media accounts, check out some of my latest uploads, because I promise you there's some really quality ones in there. And that's where I'm going to leave it. So thanks for tuning in. I got to get out of here because I'm actually going to be late to my window tinting appointment. It's in South County, but like, I'd never go to South County. I went to South County in that Tesla video though. So you should check that out. Check out the Tesla video. Everyone's looking at me right now because I kind of have the studio on lock. I feel like this is a situation like Braden's over there. He's just like waiting to get up. Jason's waiting to sit down in his chair because I know it creaks because that's my old gaming chair. We need WD-40 in this office. Exactly.
I was going to jump on the mic, man.
You want to jump on the mic? Come in here. Come in here.
Yo.
Here, I'll pass the mic.
Is this for the podcast or is this for YouTube?
Oh, this is for the pod.
Yo, hey guys. So first off, thanks for, I would say having me, but I kind of forced my way over.
Kind of did.
But nah, Dante, it's been amazing watching you grow. We connected, I think it was 2020, just similar interests in creativity and taking our city to another level and the talent out of this city and showing people what can be done. I'm very proud of how far you've come, and we know like a lot of things are in the works. So it's literally only up from here. The St. Louis creator scene, the creatives themselves, there's a lot of good ones. But as a city, we got to do a better job to really take us to the next level. And I'm confident with everybody that's in the studio, everyone's work ethic, everyone's passion, we're going to do our part, working with all kinds of companies from all over the country and all over the world. St. Louis, we want to continue to work with you guys. You have a talented individual that's right here.
And here.
Oh, thanks, man. And there. But it's like work with us. We don't always have to do the St. Louis thing where people go off 5-10 years from now. It's like, oh, hey, welcome back, Dante, and you're on the jumbotron of things. We can do that stuff now. We can help them grow. So I just really want to say, keep doing your thing, bro.
Appreciate that, dude.
This is gonna be fun to watch next year, a year from now. Literally, this studio is it. So stay original and stay Dante, and here's a pinch to grow an inch.
Oh my God. Yeah. If you see Instagram, you'll know that Brad and I have started beef because he thinks that, oh, I'm 6'5". Ha ha ha. Yeah. Like he was out on the balcony taking a call yesterday and Jason was like, dude, it's like 30 degrees out there. He's probably cold. And I'm like, nah, bro, he's like 8 feet from the sun. He's CDC guidelines from a star. He's not going to go cold. He's fine. If anything, he's melting. So yeah, shout out to Brad. Like been a huge supporter since we met, really. And this community aspect is what we're trying to build, and it's necessary for growth and continuing to challenge the norms and break through this cycle that St. Louis is stuck in. St. Louis is so stuck in its ways, and everybody is just making this. We're all defaulting to the same thing, and we're taking inspiration from New York and Chicago from 5 years ago when we really don't need to. There's so much potential here. Like it's unreal. And the sooner that this city sees it, the sooner that we can all thrive. I mean, I don't want to have to be another creator that leaves, but man, I got to be honest. Chicago does look really freaking nice for what I do. I know a lot of people up there that are thriving. Meanwhile, in St. Louis, it feels like I'm surviving. So continue supporting your local creators, continue supporting St. Louis. And with that, we're going to sign off because this was a very productive but short episode. Cheers to 8 years. Peace.